Be quiet, be quiet. Is it recording? Is it recording? And please stay front. Try to stay front. That some students complain to me saying statistics is hard, is boring, is so and so or whatever. And it's boring or not? Right. It's not boring. It's not boring. Is that hard? No, no. But you should follow my requirement. Read. Read the chapter. Read the chapter also for online students. Read the chapters I ask you to read. That's not too much requirement, right? You are a college student. Even high school students should read for 1 year, and they should read so and so. You are college students. I ask you to read each week probably 30 pages. Probably 30 pages. For me, one day, I read about 100 pages, fiction. Fiction. You can read this like reading newspaper. Like reading newspaper. A lot of news. A lot of news. So, there's no excuse saying it's too hard. Your English, I know your English. We all know each other. Okay? And statistics is very important. It is a fun. For example, just recent news, Qingdao city, and they did the nuclear test on everybody in Qingdao because there was some virus, some patients show up in Qingdao. Qingdao is a very beautiful city. It's a very, very beautiful city. It's a very important city too. And they did the nuclear test on everybody in Qingdao. That is 10 million. Right, 10 million. People, they did the nuclear test on this many people. And the result is everybody is negative. Everybody is negative. It's a news. And some smart people with education, wow, this is unbelievable. 10 million people, everybody is negative. The last class, I said what? Even the 100 healthy people do the test, no matter is the virus test or cancer test, any test, there will some percentage of people be positive. He is truly healthy, but due to the limitation of the biology test, the clinical test is not absolutely clear-cut. Some healthy people will become positive. Some sick people will become negative. There is a percentage. Okay. So for this, everybody. So it is a very hot topic. So even the country leader has to speak out, say, wow, this is bullshit. The data is bullshit. Because it is against statistics. It is against statistics. Like I said, news, when they're talking about something, they always give numbers. They always give data. And the news writer, most of them do not have any knowledge of statistics. So when they write it, it's exposed the lies. Exposed the lie, exposed the reporter does not have any statistics background. Does not have any statistics background. Is like I said again and again, statistics can let you find out people are lying or not. They don't say, oh, we are lying. But by the numbers, clearly is a lying. Clearly is a lying. In this world, no any test for so many people be negative. No any test. And there are many lies about the COVID-19. Those news. I don't want to give other examples. Some I did a screenshot. It is so funny, so ridiculous lying. For example, the government, that was back in February, this year, February. They said, we designed a new test. The sensitivity is 100%. Sensitivity is 100%. I repeat again, what is the sensitivity? Sensitivity means if you have 100 patients, you do this test, every patient will be found out to be sick. Wow, this is so. In today's world, this does not exist. 100 sick people go to test. Some will not be detected. 100% does not exist. And this is a specific. And this is 100% true. I had the screenshot. Specificity is the opposite. It means 100 healthy people. You do this test, And the test will show everybody is healthy. This does not exist in the world either. 100 healthy people go to test it. You will have maybe 2%, maybe 3%, maybe 5%, maybe 20% will say, oh, according to the test, you are sick. Okay. 100% sensitivity, 100% specificity. It's really on the news. My goodness. These are just examples. Too many examples. Too many examples. Okay, we have to move on. We have to move on. We work on chapter 4. Sample again is an extension of chapter 3. In statistics study, we always do sample because we cannot deal the whole population. We can only get a group of people by studying this group of people to find out the whole world. So it's a sample. And the sample survey in real world is talking about all the problems is talking about the problems in samples, surveys. And I say it in the class. I do not say it on internet. All the samples has a problem, has errors. If I want to criticize research, all the research, they need the data. Well, the scientists studied something. They studied something. The scientists study something. They study sample. They study some samples. They cannot study everything. And every study can be criticized. I put in this way. Can be criticized. Always have a holes. Always have a holes. Recently, they issued, China has 23 provinces. The 23 provinces. They issued each province the lifespan, how long the people live. They have a ranking. Okay, to see which province people live longer, which province people live shorter. Of course, again, if you want to study the average people in Yunnan province, how long the people live, you want to study the average people live in Beijing, compare. So they did a ranking. And Yunnan was the bottom. Yunnan province was the bottom. It is on the news. Which means the people in Yunnan dies dies faster than other places, which means Yunnan is not a good place. It's on the news, okay? Now I ask you, if I want you, I give this as a final exam question. I want you to criticize this result. How do you criticize? What kind of, yes, Anna said bias. Good. But can you be more specific? Can you be more specific? So they have a ranking, and Yunnan, the people live the shortest. And I want you to criticize this. How do you criticize? How do you criticize? I don't trust that result, even though I don't really know. I don't trust that result. How do you criticize? Frank said the population is not the same. Right? It's not the same. So they'll say the average life. Average life. I'm sorry? Huh? Climate. But the statistics, we are focusing on criticize the ranking from our statistics, from our book. First of all, how they did the average life. They didn't study everybody died in Yunnan province today, right? They didn't die. Everybody died in Yunnan province today. I entered into the Excel, or somebody died 70 years old, somebody died 15 years old, a car accident, somebody died 1 year old because of illness, somebody died 90 years old. They didn't study, everybody died. They studied a sample. And so, which sample? Depending on you're looking at which sample. It's only on the news. The news didn't give the detail on how they did the sample. Did they say randomly choose 1,000 people died today in Yunnan province? 1,000 people died today in Yunnan province. In the same time, 1,000 people died in Beijing, 1,000 people died in Shanghai, 1,000 people died in Sichuan. How do you choose the sample? If you say, yeah, we choose 1,000 people died in hospital, then if I want to continue criticize, which hospital? Kunming, Which city? Yunnan province has many cities, right? Kunming, Dali, Lijiang, or there are many cities. Um, how do you choose? If you say, okay, the answer say, yes, we randomly choose 200 people in hospitals in Kunming, we choose 100 people from Dali, we choose 100 people from Lijiang. If he's arguing with me, then I can continue arguing. If I want to criticize, there are too many holes. Then I can say what? I can say what? Many people in Yunnan, they die at home. They don't go to hospital. They are just too old. They are 90 years old. They are 100 years old. When they are dying, their children do not want to send them to emergency room because it's natural. They die at home. So you're sampling on the hospital, you're missing those people dying at home. They don't report to the hospital. And those are long-lived, is not included in your 1,000 people. These 1,000 people in hospital, they are dying because they are sick. They are dying because of car accidents. So the average is smaller in Yunnan. And in Beijing, probably everybody, if you are dying, they always send to the hospital. No, you need to go to hospital. We give many shots and still dying. And in Yunnan, a lot of farmers, when they are old, they know they are dying. They just die at home. They don't want to go to hospital, emergency room. Yeah? So that's my criticize. So then another way, if we say, okay, no, we didn't go to the hospital. Guess what? We went to the cemetery. You know cemetery, right? And because there always that stone. There was a stone, which year born, which year died. So we randomly choose cemetery in Kunming. My parents were buried in a cemetery on the hill. So let's say we randomly go to the cemetery, randomly select 1,000 tomb, right? We collect their which year died. We calculate how long he lived, and we select another one. We calculate. So this is a randomly select 1,000 tombstones. Randomly select. One. Then, if I want to continue criticize, what I can criticize? What I can criticize? Yes?
Isn't it wiser to go to the mortuaries?
I'm sorry?
Isn't it wiser to go and calculate from the mortuaries than the emergency room for intended people?
Sorry, I'm not following you. Emergency room? What?
The mortuary, where
When
you
they
take
keep dead
dead
bodies,
people.
corpse.
Yeah.
You know, when people they die from the hospital, they take them to the mortuary.
The
Yeah.
fridges,
Yeah. So isn't it wiser to go calculate from the mortuary than to go to the cemetery?
No, it's better so.
Uh,
When the person is dead, just
yeah,
yeah.
So if I want to criticize these 1,000 tombstones, you say, okay, we're not selecting the hospital. You are saying the hospital is, um, many people do not go to hospital and they die at home. So we select the tombstones, 1,000 people, randomly, then I can still argue cemetery regularly is for rich people. Cemeteries these days are expensive. They are for more educated people, for at least middle class cemetery. And in Yunnan, many farmers, they are poor, and when their parents or grandparents die, they bury it in their home, in their land. And you are missing those people long live, okay? They, they have no pollution, no pollution, it's in a mountain, they work every day, no diabetes, no this cancer is rare. So those people are long live. But they are not buried in cemetery. You have to pay a lot of money to be buried in cemetery. And it is very expensive. And those farmers, of course, why we pay this? We just bury it on the back of our house. So you're missing that. I'm saying when you collect samples, there are many holes. You can criticize it. If I want to criticize the ranking, I can continue to it. Even though they say we select 1,000 tombstones. Where are those 1,000? You see, 200 in Kunming, 100 in Dali, 100 in Lijia. Have you selected any in Wenshan, another city? Oh, Wenshan. Oh, sorry, I forgot the city. Have you selected any from Xishuanbanna? Oh, sorry, I forgot. You forgot Xishuanbanna. Have you selected any from Songming? Oh, I forgot Songming. Too many holes. You want to try to use a sample, 1,000 dead people, trying to say reflect how many in Yunnan province? How many in Yunnan province? Maybe it's 100 million.
What about those bodies that drive home and then they bury them?
Yes.
They don't take it to the hospital.
Right.
They don't get the record.
Right.
Then how do they count? So you can't just say, include me, the highest amount of time.
Right.
What is some people bring them?
Yes.
So how do they do it? Because I don't understand what you're.
So they are missed from sampling. Yes. Okay.
Maybe using convenience something, because like they use the easier way out.
Yes. Yes. Um, like Anna said, they are just convenience sampling. So the errors. The bottom line, all the statistics result, like somebody said, are lies all statistics are lie. It's not me, it's a big famous statistics professor said, all statistics are lie. Now you know, but statistics is always on the news. Oh, how much is going to vote for Biden? How much is going to vote for Trump? Errors. I am saying, this is not from me, okay? I borrow. This is from me. All the sample studies have errors. Oh, 100%. If I want to criticize, most of time I keep my mouth shut. If I have nothing better to do, then I go to criticize with statistics. For example, this Yunnan province was ranked the bottom, and so I criticized that on the internet. So let me list some errors. There are different kinds of errors. So one is the random error. Random or everything is in your chapter 4. Random sampling error. Random sampling error. What is that? Is if you select 1,000 people died, you calculate their average, get a number. If you select another 1,000 people died, you calculate their average, you get a number. The two numbers, most of time, are not equal. Most of time are not equal. Of course, right? 1,000 people that died, 1,000 people that died, their average definitely not equal. It's like the salary. If you want to find out a computer programmer's average salary, you ask 100 computer programmers, what's your salary? You calculate 100, the average. Then you do another sample. 100, they are not the equal. They are not equal. So this is a random. This is natural. This is a natural. Random sampling error. If you want to say how can we minimize it, is try to use a big sample. Try to use a big sample. For example, 1,000 people's average life. You say, oh, this 1,000 people, their average life is 80 years old. These 1,000 people, their average life is 75 years old. So, is Yunnan's province 75 years old or is it 80 years old? To minimize this, if you have the time and the money, ask 10 million people died today. Are there 10 million people died today? Maybe not. Anyway, try to ask more people, okay, to minimize these errors. And this is all repeating with previous chapters. Voluntary response. Voluntary response. Remember what is a voluntary response? What is a voluntary response? I said before here, and if you didn't read, you may not remember. But if you read the chapters, please read the chapters. The voluntary response is very typical, is you mail out the result to many people, to 1,000 people, to 5,000 people, and ask them to fill out the answer and mail back to you. Mail back to you. And most of them are just not interested, not cooperating with you. Say, I don't care this thought. Only those with very strong intention. With very strong intention. Oh yeah, I really hate Dr. Lee. Yes. And or maybe some, oh, I like Dr. Lee. They write the feedback to the survey. And some, maybe I don't care. So it's a voluntary response. This response cannot show the whole picture. Cannot show the whole picture. Okay? And the third error is the sampling frame. Is a sampling frame. All this is, I'm talking about the sampling error. There are other errors. Too many errors. This is why it's very easy to criticize if you want to argue. If you are a lawyer, in the court, any data you always can criticize. That's a lie. Don't trust it. Sampling error frame. What is a sampling frame? For example, what is a sampling frame? I don't remember what is a sampling frame. You read. It's in your chapter 4, okay? Okay? You tell me on Friday. We take a break now.